Hello, class. My name is Joseph Williams. This is my book report project for Miss Zenobia, Miss McKnight. My project is doing a vocal recording of my favorite first chapter of my favorite fanfiction story. The story is the all-new Double D by Dragon 6. Prologue. Ed waited outside of his home for the arrival of his uncle. As far as Ed knew, he didn't have one. His father and mother had never been close to the other members of the family, so he wouldn't really know them. He had several bags at his side and his pet cactus Jim. He watched as several of the cul-de-sac kids watched him but said nothing. Their looks were one of anger. He couldn't blame them for this, as it was his and his friend's fault. He looked to see the construction workers still there. He sighed as he remembered that day. It was another one of Eddie's schemes. It took him 3 days to build a cul-de-sac railway system. It was a good plan. It worked well, as everyone seemed to enjoy it, and enjoyed it a bit too much, and jarred the makeshift train of the tracks. While this was normal, the train uncontrollably crashed through one of the houses that belonged to a very old man. The man was badly injured, that he was sent to the hospital. The man's son was enraged and shouted at their parents until he couldn't shout no more. The parents were pissed and grounded each and every one of them. Eddie blamed Ed, and for what happened. Eddie even went further, saying that he was a bad inventor and all his contraptions were always failing. Eddie's insults got so bad that it sent him home in tears. The tears would not stop as his parents informed him by sticky note that he was being sent to live with his uncle. He pleaded with them, but they would not have none of it. As he waited for his Uncle Richard, he also waited for Ed and Eddie to come and say goodbye to him. He knew that would come to do that at least, but as the time ticked away, they never showed up. Could it be that Eddie was still mad at him? And granted, he even got mad but before he would always come to seek him out. And where was Ed? He left a message for both of them telling what happened. But was Ed mad at him too? The van pulled up in front of him and a man stepped out on the driver's side. He walked over to Ed and stood over him. Ed looked at the tall man with fear. So you're Edward. I haven't seen you since your birth. Where's my sister and brother-in-law? They left this with me, Ed said as he handed him a stack of sticky notes. Richard frowned and threw the notes away, surprising Ed. Let's get you packed up ready. Wait, I have some friends who will be coming soon. Can't you wait for a little while? Ed asked. Sure, kid. Wouldn't deny you that, he said. Ed smiled and walked away while Richard packed all his stuff. The two waited for about an hour. After an hour ticked away, Richard watched as his nephew got sadder. He grew angry and irritated at these friends of his. Another 30 minutes passed and there was still no sign of Ed or Eddie. Richard saw tears roll down Ed's eyes. He placed a hand on his shoulder. Maybe we should get going. It's gonna be a long ride, Richard suggested. Ed didn't answer him and just walked to the passenger side. Richard buckled him in and closed the door. He buckled himself in and turned the key. As the car started, he looked at his sad nephew inside. He put the car in drive and moved out. He continued his drive until they were out of the picture. It would be a while before Double D returned.